My childhood was pretty mellow. I was very grateful to have good parents to raise me as a good kid. I went to school, was a kid that went to school in the morning and did his homework in the afternoon. And then after a while, I got into some little street fight, and this little kid did me like a headlock or something, and I felt that was kind of cool. And then my brother already trained jiu-jitsu for a couple months, and he got me into it, you know. And the school that I started at in Manaus, back my hometown, was a really hardcore school. We trained a lot, and I fell in love with my first arm lock, and I haven't stopped since then. And but pretty much my childhood was really mellow, and I was already very calm, very laid back kid, and martial arts even made me more balanced. The mental aspect is I think most of the time I think it's 90% of it, because if you can be physically ready for any battle, but if you're not ready in your mind, and if your mind quits, everything gonna quit with it. And we heard a lot of stories about, you know, ancient wars and stuff like that. How can you prepare for that? There's no preparation for that. So everything is inside your head. It's your spiritual part, it's your mental toughness that gives you the edge. You know, sometimes your body tells you wanna quit, and you gotta just tell yourself, I'm not quitting. And I think the body can fail, but never the mind. And you know, when your state of mind is when you calm and you have the peace of mind, everything else is easier to achieve. You know, sometimes you see a lot of people going through life, they have phases that everything works, and all of a sudden, the day for the other, everything stops working. But why is that? It's because the people start to lose that peace of mind. They start to come in a more practical way. You come into train and you think about your bills, about the fight you have with your girlfriend, about the problems that you have. And that's for sure gonna put you down. You can be in the best shape as you can be, but if your mind is not above all that, I think you're gonna have a great chance not to succeed. So you know how to train that. I think there are ways to train this. You can meditate. You can try to, you know, just empty your mind for everything else, and you know, keep yourself fit. That helps. But again, if your body tells you to quit, your mind don't, you're never gonna quit no matter what. For tournaments, I think in my daily life, when I train jiu-jitsu, for me, I'm already in a stage that the whole training is itself a mental training. You know, I focus on my breathing, I focus on my flexibility, I focus on my momentum, I focus on my opponent, and I let my brain just be absent of thoughts. I think that is already part of training for me. When I'm outside of it, before competition, or it's just when I'm home, I try to always visualize positive thoughts. I try to visualize what I wanna conquer the next day. You know, sometimes it's just a bad day. Sometimes it's you know, you wanna be successful in some sort of business. And I think everything is related to that. And I think the exercise you have to do for mind is every single day, every single time. You cannot allow yourself to have negative thoughts. You cannot allow yourself to have greedy thoughts, being vain, be selfish. You know, and I think that's everyday training. You know, and of course, when you have a chance to be by yourself, to be, sometimes you're gonna run in the beach, and then you know, you stop for a second and just feel that energy coming through the sun, coming through the waves in the ocean. I think everything helps to have the contact with the nature, and I think we believe that we all one. And when you get in a state of mind that you can really relate to everything that surrounds you, and then you really become fulfilled in every aspect. You know, and again, I think just keeping it positive. You know, sit down, concentrate on breathing. I think the breathing helps a lot. You know, because when you breathe, it's pretty much the first time that you really exchange something with your outside world. You know, you inhale, you exhale. I learned a lot through Ginástica Natural with Master Álvaro Romano. He brought it from Hickson too. So he brought this kind of, he taught me more technical ways to fulfill that necessity, you know, to kind of get in concentration, mental toughness, you know, just visualize, you know, visualize you getting into the mat, you respecting your opponent, you visualize that everything you work for that is gonna work. and do not allow yourself to take negative thoughts. And I think that's everyday practice until you really get to a point that you can switch on and off as you will. Jiu-Jitsu, if you translate, is the gentle art. Is the art to to be bendable, to not be so stiff in situations. And I think Jiu-Jitsu gave me balance. Jiu-Jitsu gave me the confidence to just be able to face any difficulty in life, and I always understand there's a positive side and negative side of it, and this is up to us to take the positive or the negative out of it, And when I mentioned that Jiu-Jitsu is the bending art, it's like, for example, you face a situation, a lot of time you want to be just rough or you want to be stupid with someone, and then that allows yourself to kind of like give yourself a little bit so you can conquer it in the end. And I think that's how I carry my Jiu-Jitsu on the mats and off the mat. You can't lie in Jiu-Jitsu. You can't be something in the mat and be something outside of it. Otherwise maybe you'll not totally fulfill what Jiu-Jitsu can bring to you. And I think that's how I carry it. I try to teach my family. I try to teach always to my friends to be balanced, to have equilibrium, to think positive, and not to be so hard on things sometimes. But of course, if someone steps a little bit, in your territory and something that you really don't accept as your personal character, I think then you need to be a little rigid. But I think everything else, there's always time to be gentle, to be able to to give yourself a little, so you can receive it in the end. A lot of time, if you take Jiu-Jitsu just as a sport, as something, the competition, I think that's something that it's just inside of the mats. It's a competition. Sometimes you bring different aspects in it. The physicality, the will to win. And for me, I think there's always something better than that. I think there's always something beyond just an arm lock or a choke or a sweep or a pass. And when you fight, I'm not talking about compete. When you fight, I think they have to beat your body, they have to beat your mind, and that they have to beat your spirit, and you need to try to keep your spirit as clear as it can be, by being a role model, by, by meditating, by have the contact with the nature, and I think for me, I didn't choose Jiu-Jitsu, Jiu-Jitsu chose me, throughout the years, and I think there's a very spiritual connection with it. When you fight your opponent, sometimes you're not fighting him, you're not fighting his technique. You're fighting everything he believes in. You fight his breathing, you fight his anger, you fight his lies, you fight his strengths, and you need to just start to break that person. And I think in the end, you need to be very strong mentally, physically, and spiritually. And I think that God put us in this earth for a reason, and that the body it's just a machine, it's just a toy that our spirit uses to be able to achieve what we want. And in my case, I like teaching, I like fighting, I like passing the positive word that Jiu-Jitsu gave to me. And I think you can teach that. I think that's carry with you. And and as much as you train, as much as you evolve as a being, as much as you evolve physically, you get in deeper contact with your spiritual side. And I think Jiu-Jitsu has all of it. Mixed martial arts has evolved in a point that with time limits, with the way the physicality and athleticism is coming, I think it's kind of really hard to try to be gentle sometimes,